Does the fear of the dentist leave you with haunting images like this? And this reminds you of a trip that you once took and now you just can't bring yourself to get into the dentist's office. I personally don't have a huge fear of dentists. It's not my favorite thing to do. So that probably puts me in the sort of the regular category.
Yeah.
Dr. Preety Desai joining us to talk about this. You contend probably with people every day that probably feel a little apprehensive.
It's unfortunately true that there are so many grades of anxiety and fear, and a lot of people feel almost embarrassed to discuss it because it has no rational basis sometimes. It's just an emotional thing, and from childhood to just one single bad experience can set you off for life, unfortunately.
And do people come to you and say, look, I had a bad experience when I was young, and they're trying to work through it? Does that often
occasionally
happen?
If they've gotten to the point where they can work through it, that's amazing that they can address it. But often it's very subconscious and very subliminal.
Yes.
It kind of translates into avoiding treatment. That's the big thing. If you don't want to do something and you're scared, you're not going to do it. So unfortunately, the repercussions on your oral health are terrible because you postpone so much because you're so scared, then it becomes a big issue.
How often do you see that, where people have just put it off for years and then they're in there trying to play catch up and they've got a host?
4 to 5 times a week.
Is that right?
Yeah, almost daily.
So how do you get over that? I mean, how do you eventually get past that and face the music?
Part of it is, the majority is just identifying it, and we have studies to show that as a child, if you did have a trauma, that contributes to about 75% of one's fear. So unfortunately, going back to one's childhood is usually enjoyable, but that part may not be. So addressing it, number one. And number two, today understanding that there are options to help you through treatment so that you can slowly deal with it as you feel capable of doing so. There are mild Valiums that can kind of get you over the hump and get you into the office. And if you can start to talk about it with a clinician that you trust, which is very, very important. If you have a dentist that you had as a kid and, didn't kind of mature to your level as you go through life, then maybe it's time to talk to somebody else as well. And there's different forms of sedation, nitrous oxide, which is the safest form of sedation that we have available to us, laughing gas. But it's so much more sophisticated now. It's not laughing. It's just a nice zen feeling when you have treatment, and IV sedation as well.
Okay, so there are options if you're really on that far end of the spectrum. But then taking it from the other angle as well, I guess parents really need to make sure they're making a good choice in terms of finding a dentist for their kids so that they grow up not freaking out at the dentist as well.
Exactly. So once you identify what will set you off for life as a parent or as an aunt or as a grandparent, I have so many patients who come in who identified that early and saying, I can take my kid there and they've had a fantastic experience, but for me, I can't deal with it. So it was great that they didn't transfer that stress onto their child. And today's children's dentistry is so sophisticated and so slick, and cavities are almost nil right now. And as a result, kids have a great experience, so that transfers into adulthood then.
Right. Very, very good point there. Things have gotten a lot more easy.
Very, very slick and sophisticated now, yeah.
Fantastic. Anything else that you would like to add on this topic?
No, I just feel that if you have any concerns that are worrying you, don't postpone, deal with it. And this is just a lesson for life, unfortunately, but there's a lot of anxiety, and it's just nice to help support people through the treatment as opposed to just go ahead and do it and not identify the cause.
Exactly. All right, Dr. Desai, thank you for being here today.
Pleasure.
Have a great long weekend.
Thanks, you too.
All right, thank you. Information is on the screen if you would like to get a hold of Dr. Desai. You cannot be scared to go to the dentist. It's going to catch up with you at some point. Stay with us.